My daughter tried to hurt herself after we found out she's not biologically mine. How do I help her understand that I'm still her father, and that her existence is the best thing in my life? My little girl thinks that her existence is evil. We found out recently that her mother, my wife of 23 years, cheated on me when the man claiming to be her biological father showed up on our doorstep demanding to see her and claiming he didn't know she existed. It's been quite possibly the worst few weeks of my life, but she took it so much worse than I did. She calls herself a bastard. She won't talk to her siblings or her mother, and only apologizes to me. I don't care if she's half T-Rex, I love her with every bone in my body, and she tried to take her life last night. My wife found her. She's going to be okay, but this can't happen again. I can't talk to anyone about this, I don't want my family to know. I don't know how to be what she needs. Please help. Update. Thank you for the advice. Things are not better yet. In fact, things have gotten deeply disturbing. I tried to write this up without using names, and it got confusing, so let's call my non-biological daughter Jane. My other 3 kids are John, 21, Jill, 17, and Jenny, 15. John, Jill, and Jenny went out and got DNA tested behind my back. The other 3 kids are all biologically mine. They made a big show of giving the results at a family dinner that was supposed to help us all bond again as a family after the original issue, and it upset my daughter a lot. She felt rejected, and honestly, I felt insulted that they hadn't respected my wishes and let sleeping dogs lie at least until things were more stable. I started my absolute best to make Jane feel more safe once she came home. I started sleeping on the couch in her room so she could talk to me if she ever woke up feeling like she had to. I've been taking her and her siblings out a lot more than I used to. I got her presents, and tried to be there for her. I even did something I haven't done since high school, and took out my old guitar and wrote her a song. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I guess I thought she'd be able to understand I wasn't full of it. My soon-to-be ex-wife decided to use all of this to accuse me of being creepy to Jane, saying now that I know we're not related I'm preying on her. She said this in front of Jane. It caused Jane to have a second mental breakdown, and it caused me to call a lawyer and start planning for divorce. This is, in my opinion, a far more unforgivable offense than the cheating. She's my daughter. I'm going to fight like hell for as much custody of Jill and Jenny as possible, and the good news is, they both seem to want to live with me, and they're old enough that it matters. Those comments, however, made getting through to Jane extremely difficult. I'm worried she'll attempt every day, and she doesn't want me sleeping in her room anymore. I hate my wife with every bone in my body for causing this mess. I can't tell my daughter I love her anymore without scaring her, and she was already scared our relationship was going to change. She says she believes me when I tell her I would never in a million years see her as anything but my child, but she flinches when I hug her. How do I fix this?
Comment 1. Jane may need some inpatient care. Your horrible wife is feeding into Jane's head, making you out to be the bad person, not her. Jane needs time away from her.
Comment 2. Seconding this comment. Inpatient intensive mental health care may help her a lot, particularly because the care providers there are independent from you and your wife. They can help her sort through these complex feelings, and this complex trauma, in a way that you cannot. If you do decide to go this route, please make every effort to make clear that there's nothing wrong with her, and that she just needs this temporary support that's beyond what you can directly provide as her dad. Comment 3. This. So much this. Sadly, inpatient care is still often seen as something bad. As if the patient is failing outside. While the opposite is true. They or their loved ones recognize that they need more help than what is available outside. And it takes strength to admit that. Your daughter needs help from someone she can have trust to. Not saying that you are not trustworthy, but she feels like that right now due to your miscreant of a wife filling her head with negative stuff. Her whole existence has been thrown into disarray. The one place where you should feel safe has become the place where she feels like she can't trust no one. Please suggest inpatient care to her. Put it like a place where she can rest without having to worry about you or the rest of her family. Where she can openly talk because it stays there. It might sound paradox, but inpatient care could provide her with more freedom than she has now. And also please move hell and high water to protect her from the mistake you married.
Comment 4. While I do agree that Jane absolutely needs intensive mental health care and to be away from her mother, I wholeheartedly disagree that it be inpatient. My son was seriously mentally ill when he was an adolescent. I received lots of pressure to hospitalize him so I could get on with my life. I never did it because I never found a facility that could do a better job than I could at home, and pediatric mental health care services are a massive shit show. They are massively underfunded, and care workers are often hired based on their physical size rather than their clinical experience. Sexual abuses are rife, and because these kids are in there because of their clinical diagnoses and behavioral issues, they are unlikely to be believed when they do report problems. Comment 5. I can't get a good read on Jane, for obvious reasons. She's reeling right now and in crisis. On one hand, it sounds like she's pushing/pulling away from you, and that's to be expected. She's questioning her very existence lately and feeling guilty for receiving your love, support, etc. for all these years, and especially now. It could also be a subconscious test to see if you love her. She's so mixed up right now, she probably can't find her own butt with both hands and a flashlight. On the other hand, she's your daughter and she needs you now. She can't articulate how because she's so conflicted and feels like she's been a fraud and a burden, although that's far from the truth, for her entire life. My advice? Do not go MIA or AWOL even if she says to. You'll have to adjust the amount and intensity of interaction according to how she's feeling, pretty much moment by moment. If she needs time and space, give it to her without disappearing completely. If she needs to be held and cry her eyes out, let her. She's your baby girl. You know her best.